Hello and good evening. Welcome to Ales and Scales. My name is TJ, and tonight we're going to be doing my player focus. So if you've been watching the stream, you know I play Osborne Volstagg, which is a Furbolg druid who took the Circle of Moon Druids for basically I took that for the wild shape. Which if you guys know, that means I can wild shape into creatures, and if you've seen the stream, you've seen me change into things like spiders, bears, that kind of thing. Now, Osborne hails from Midgard in our map, specifically the Twilight Forest. So the thought of Osborne was that since he was a Furbolg, Furbolgs generally don't care too much for civilization, I guess you could say, and they prefer to be alone off somewhere, and they're very close with nature. So I thought a Furbolg would be good to play a druid, and I thought a great place for him to be is in the Twilight Forest, because the Twilight Forest is a dense, deep place where he could have hid from civilization. And while there, I figured to give him kind of a background, had him basically meet up with other druids, since it is the forest. Druids would be in the forest communing with nature. And that's how he kind of became a druid and learned the druidic ways, is through the other druids he met in the forest. Now, if you've also seen the character, I guess other players would consider my character dumb, not intelligent, but he actually does have a pretty decent intelligence stat. It's just that he can't read. Like I said, he didn't spend time in civilization. Nobody actually sat down and gave him the time to read and write, which, in the times would not be uncommon, as only those of wealth or power were able to read and write. But for my character, I was like, well, he hasn't been around a lot of civilization, hasn't been, he didn't go to school or anything like that. He was basically living alone in a forest, so he would not have the common knowledge to read and write. And so that's what I kind of came up with, and I also kind of used simpler language, or I don't understand certain things about civilization, because I didn't grow up around it. I figured he would not have that certain knowledge based off the character. And another thing about Osborne, as if you noticed, he's not he's a tree hugger, but he's not like a vegan, vegetarian, go PETA type tree hugger. He's more of I like to call it a Native American style tree hugger. He respects nature. He likes nature. He basically gives thanks to the earth for what it has given him. So that whether that be, using every part of the animal, for example, like the Native Americans would do. So he would take the skins, the bones, everything that wasn't edible, and make sure it had some type of use. And we get some type of use, whether that be, if you've seen me, I've used the bones to make bone meal and put it back into the earth. Because if you've ever seen farming or anything like that, an old type of fertilizer was bone meal. So that's kind of his character too, is he likes to, like I say, he likes to give thanks to the earth for what the earth has provided him, whether it be food or shelter. As you've seen, some of our characters have literally told me to go hug trees, and I've hugged trees, and it has given us shelter. So my characters, we all have a quest, or we all have a goal as an adventurer. And so I kind of thought that for Osborne, being that for his respect for nature, for his respect for the earth, given him the gifts of food and shelter, if you've ever seen humanity in general, over time, it's always been, like you said, before when European settlers came to America, the slaughtering of buffalo and things like that, just multiple civilizations that basically take food, and we throw away a lot of things and all that kind of thing. So I figured a good thing for Osborne would be to kind of try to change human nature to have him basically to kind of give back to the earth too. So again, to use all parts of the animal so they don't go to waste, or to plant trees, things in nature. Because again, he is a druid, so he is in tune with nature. He loves nature. So I figured, him seeing this gluttony and waste of basically of animals and of crops and things of that nature land, that he would be quite angered with it. So his goal as an adventurer would be to gain enough notoriety and to kind of help teach the ways of giving back to the earth. Now, this adventure has been pretty fun. Again, I kind of gave a little bit of background about Osborne, but so one of the things I did to do was, so as people know, some people also get confused by this too. Druids don't touch metal. It has something to do, even though there's been an argument made that metal is of the earth. It is, I guess, with the refining of it and stuff. I guess Druids don't believe that refining the metal becomes earth anymore. It becomes something man-made. So yeah, my character is also pretty broke. Like literally has no cent to his name because of that. So I went with that. And if you saw the first episode, I did have a tiny little halfling accountant that decided to fight everything he could. Not a smart idea. And now I've kind of given our orc cleric the opportunity to be my accountant. And this has made things fun. I mean, seeing our episodes, some of our party members do like to try to quote unquote be my accountants and aka just steal the money from me because I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, I haven't stolen from you.
Yeah, and yeah, luckily our orc cleric is a pretty honest guy. But with that, I mean, it does get kind of messy because I can't wield any nice weapons I find in the campaign. I have to basically pawn them off to somebody else. And obviously, I can't really sell them or trade them for much because my idea of trading a sword would be something like a deer skin. I'd be like, oh, that's a great trade. I get to trade this human garbage sword for some nice deer skin. But yeah, Osborne, he's very in tune with nature, does not like touching evil, refused to touch any type of metal, whether it be doorknobs, like say gold, swords, armor, all that off the table. And it's been quite an interesting adventure so far. I will also say that being a Furbolg, I decided, I know with the homebrew of oh my gosh, I can't think of the name of the other podcast, the one with Matt in it. So I do know that Furbolg.
Critical Role?
Yeah, Critical Role, that's it. Yeah, Critical Role podcast. They kind of changed Furbolgs into being more colorful, like the hair and all that. They go with crazy hair, pink, purple, all that kind of stuff. I decided to keep it more traditional with the classic Furbolg and just go with blonde hair. And I thought it was a nice mixture because blonde is still not a color you see. It's a natural color, but not a common natural color. And he is also a giant character, which makes it fun. We have 3 giant characters in our campaign, me being one, the Goliath, and the Orc, which is fun, which is why I still wish we had our halfling, because we could have played a halfling football. I think that would have been fun. And yeah, I think Osborne is getting along well with the other team members, except maybe the Goliath that kind of gets frustrated with Osborne's communication with nature, aka calling him the tree hugger, telling him to go hug a tree. I think the she-elves, he gets along with the she-elves, the 2 she-elves in our group. Maybe not so much the one with the ghostly hand that doesn't like that I pick up everything that we read. Which, by the way, Osborne only does because he finds something and he's like, oh, well, I want to attempt to read this. It's not, like I said, it's not that he doesn't want to learn or he's not smart enough to learn how to read or write. He just never was given the opportunity. So he does want to learn how to read and be able to read scrolls or read books. But, I mean, until he learns that phonics for druids, he's not going to be able to read or write anytime soon. And it would also help him because, as me and our lovely DM has discussed, maybe some of the creatures, some of the things like dinosaurs. So technically, I would not be able to know what a dinosaur was, nor would have ever seen a dinosaur. so I can't really wild shape into dinosaurs, but we discussed if I could read and study up on dinosaurs in libraries, because, it is something that would have been passed down in historical texts. He's like, well, if you study up on it enough, you would, be, you could wild shape into one. So that's basically all I was from Volstagg. Just good, loving tree hugger that wants to learn how to read and write and teach humanity how to share in the ways of the earth. And I want to thank you guys for joining us tonight on tonight's stream. Thank you for watching Ales and Scales and being supporters. And stay tuned. So tomorrow night, about 5 p.m. Central Time, we'll be streaming episode 5 of our adventure. Thank you.